Hello, my friends. It is a wild time to be alive in girl world for sure. Last night, if you're unaware, I'm sure you're not. I'm sure everybody has at least heard about it by now. But Casey and Beck were on a podcast together, and they just had a conversation about Amberlynn, and my jaw like fell onto the floor after the first minute or two, and just never left the floor. So I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but there were a lot of points that I just can't not at least acknowledge and talk about a little bit. So let's just see how wild this got. And, it's just no matter how bad Amberlynn is, we just keep finding out she's worse. I just don't think there's a bottom. There's not a rock bottom that she can hit. So, anyway, if you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not going to lie.
I get it because that was me at one point. I didn't want to come back. I didn't want nothing to do with it. I wanted to forget that it ever happened. I
Blame you.
never wanted to have to think about it ever again. And then it's just like she just wouldn't stop. And I'm like, well, now I guess I'm just going to re-traumatize myself and drag you through the way you deserve.
I just love the way you said that. I'm going to re-traumatize myself. And yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it was bringing up stuff I completely forgot about having to dig and remember. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe that I went through this and I stayed.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something when you actually like go back and think about it, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, and then you feel so stupid for it.
Yes. Oh, go ahead. No, I was just saying it took me a long time not to feel dumb about it because it's like you don't in the moment you're just like, oh, I care about this person. I'm not gonna It's maybe like I can care about them enough to divert this kind of treatment, and it doesn't work.
I really applaud them for stepping up, talking about it. Obviously, that's not easy the way Amberlynn is. It's going to cause a lot of headache for them, but they're also going to get a lot of support too, and they know that. What a great jumpstart to their YouTube career, right? Having inside information about Amberlynn Reed. That's pretty awesome, and good for them for using it. So this first one, Beck is just talking about how I didn't want to talk about this. This is not something I was excited for. I didn't want to be a reaction channel necessarily. And then I started kind of realizing how bad things really were. And I was watching all these videos, and it was just sort of eye-opening. So throughout all of this, I just want you to kind of keep in mind and sort of keep in the back of your head what it must have been like for Beck to be in that moment, and Casey too, because they have no idea what's going on, right? They're in the middle of it. They don't get how bad Amberlynn is. She's just their girlfriend. And even reaction channels and the public and stuff really didn't get it. We didn't understand the manipulation and the narcissism that was happening at the time. It wasn't until afterwards we started kind of putting the pieces together. So just remember, Beck had no idea what was going on.
She did the same thing to you that she had done to me. She was like, I don't have any family. I don't have anybody else. You are all I have. I need you. And I'm just like, that's so true. And I can't just leave her to her own devices because she can't survive on her own.
I know. And then you do the good thing and go like, okay, you know what? I'll be here for you. And then suddenly it's like a light switch goes off and you're like, what happened?
Well, I mean, and neither of you are stupid and I think Jade will agree with me. Neither of you are stupid for falling for that because I've talked to Beck for about a week. I've known Casey for a while now. And both of you are kind. Yeah. Both of you are kind human beings.
And this one just shows Beck was trying to do the right thing. Amberlynn was manipulating them and being like, I can't do this by myself. I need you. And Beck realized that Amberlynn can't survive on her own, or at least at the time she couldn't. And so Beck, just realizing that Amberlynn couldn't fend for herself, Beck helped her out. And it just shows the mindset that Casey and Beck both had when they got to the point where it was like, I can't do this anymore, but I still just can't throw this person out on their ass,
The question is, what is the most manipulative thing Amber has done to you, either one of you? And there's actually one part, Beck, that we all saw it went live when Amberlynn was sitting in the car and she's like, mental things are scary or whatever. Like that, the part where you got in the car and she was like talking to you, like it was like live manipulation that she like recorded and uploaded to the internet. And so on top of the most manipulative thing Amber's done to you, I was wondering if you could maybe like talk about what led up to that particular situation.
Oh my God, I really can't remember what was going on before that whole thing in the car, but I know that we were at Walmart and she had me in the store. And then whenever I came out, I was so done. I just wanted to get home. I got in the car, the camera was in my face, and I was just shut down at that point, and I knew that she had been crying and was upset. God, I wish I could remember exactly what it was over, but definitely, like, it was full-on manipulation.
Was that like a pattern for her? Like if you guys got into a fight or an argument, it would end with like her crying and apologizing. But
So Amberlynn would send Beck into Walmart or wherever, which we knew that. Amberlynn would just never get out of the car. She would just be like, hey, minion, go do my bidding. And the person, because they loved her and they wanted to take care of her, and also they didn't want to deal with her wrath if they said no, they would do it. And then Amberlynn would talk about whatever in the car on her phone, and mental things is scary, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, always, like,
were her apologies often very much like we both did this thing, or is there ever a time that you can remember where she was like, I was at fault, I shouldn't have done that?
Oh, that's a good question.
no,
Mhm.
usually it was me having to say I was sorry first. Like,
Of
and
course.
and I knew that I shouldn't even really be apologizing, but it's just like I knew that that was gonna be the only way to make her not keep arguing and pushing, is to just be like, "Okay, I'm sorry, how do we fix this?" And then she'd be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry that I made you feel bad," but she actually never really was sorry because it would just happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry without change is manipulation.
Yeah.
And that is Narc 101, right? We covered, and I'll see if I can post the video up here, the narc apology that Amberlynn, in her final response to Beck, it was supposed to be like an apology, but it was the non-est of non-apologies I've ever seen. So this tracks, that Amberlynn would not apologize for anything because she can't find herself at fault for anything. Beck would apologize first, and then Amber would be like, yeah, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Casey was a part of that
Right.
question too, right, Jade?
Yeah. What about you, Casey?
The most manipulative thing, and it happened like continuously. I have a friend. I'm not shy about saying I have a friend that I had since I was 14, and this friend, like I call her my cousin because she pretty much like took me like I was a freshman and she was a senior, and she pretty much took me under her wing and
That's
taught
so
me
gross.
about what
Nothing. Go ahead.
and taught me about life and a lot of it. Like I if I didn't like she helped me get my GED and everything. Like she's my best, one of my best friends. And when Amber was living with me, she had it in her head that I was sleeping with her. No, like God, no, never have, never will, never even saw her that way. And so every time I would go to hang out with her, I would, say, hey, can I go hang out with my friend? And she's like, first she would be like weird about it, and then afterwards she was like, yeah, go ahead. And I was like, okay, you're not gonna get weird like you did last time, right? Like you're not gonna be like messaging me and everything like that, being all mad and weird. And she's like, no, I want. Okay. So I go hang out. And this happened multiple times. I go to hang out with my friend. And then like less than probably like 45 minutes, at least 30 minutes, I get text messages. You need to come home right now or else I'm going to get on a bus and leave you. And I know you're sleeping with her and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, so Amberlynn would just sit there and stew, right? Casey would go and hang out with his friend, and Amberlynn would just sit there and just be like, I know they've got to be doing something. They've got to be doing something, because she would, right? People who have bad behavior, terrible people, do terrible things, and they also assume that everybody else acts like they do. And so when Casey goes off with his friend, she's sitting there going, I know what I would be doing. I would be sleeping with whoever was around. So, given the opportunity, I'd be sleeping with anybody. So I know Casey's got to be. And so she wouldn't be able to cope. She wouldn't be able to deal with it. So eventually she'd call him.
And it was just like constant. So to the point where me and my friend just couldn't hang out anymore.
And that's kind of the goal, right? That's what she wanted. She wanted Casey not to be able to hang out with his friend anymore.
Because one, yeah, I understand. My friend was sick of that because I would be, in a good mood hanging out. We would be, well, now the restaurant closed down, Chewy's, but we'd be like having nachos and just talking and everything like that. And I was still, a teenager at the time doing all that, just wanting to hang out with friends. And
Right.
I couldn't because she would be messaging me, I'm going to leave you if you don't come home right now. You have 30 minutes to get home. You have 5 minutes to get home or else I'm going to get on a bus. You'll never see me again.
That kind of sounds familiar, right? Having timers. It sounds like timers that Beck had too. They kind of evolved over time.
And of course I felt bad and like I was doing something wrong. And then one day I come home and I'm like, why do you do that? Like, why do you always do that? She's like, because I don't like her.
So that's what Amberlynn would do, right? She would try to isolate her significant others by making it as difficult as possible for them to spend time together.
A different body size, she very well could be dangerous.
Physically dangerous, yeah.
I definitely know that she would be, because she always would tell me if I was my actual weight, I would be in California and I wouldn't be talking to any of you guys. And I wouldn't be talking to, I would never talk to anybody my size.
Were you
Wow.
together at this time?
Yeah. And I was like, so
Whoa,
basically you would be a
God.
piece of garbage. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, so you'd be shallow. And she's like, yeah.
That is a lot
Well,
to say to
the
you.
mask was
You're
off in
like,
that moment.
that is a lot to say
So
to
it just,
somebody you're dating.
yeah, it just came down to looks.
Like,
And I was like, so that's really what she does think about me deep down. Like deep down, I knew that she wasn't into me.
Beck knew all along that Amberlynn just wasn't into them, you know, and that's sad. That just sucks. I mean, we could see it, right? There was no real chemistry there. It was a caretaker and patient relationship. And Beck kind of knew that all along, but they were kind of stuck.
I honestly wasn't into her anymore either, because it's like I was her caretaker. So it's like all of those feelings were gone and out the window very quickly.
that actually brings in another question that somebody had. And I think it's a brilliant question. It's for both of you. And that question is, what was the moment that you guys realized those feelings were gone for her? Like just completely gone. And did you guys act on it then, or were you guys stuck in it for a little while after?
Honestly, like all romantic feelings, it took a really long time for them to fully develop in the first place. Like I liked her. She kind of pushed me into the relationship, you know, because I wasn't exactly there, but she was like, well, I've got people in mind to date me. And I'm like, well, I don't want to lose you yet. So
See, from the very beginning, Amberlynn was like, I've got some other people lined up. You better just understand that I could leave you at any minute for all these other people that are lined up to date me.
I guess we'll start dating. So then after that, it took me a while to come around and get lovey-dovey and get close, because I had my guard up anyway from past experiences. And then just like when I thought I was going to lose her, she just barreled right through, pushed me into the relationship. So my feelings came later. But then once I started having to constantly do everything by myself, is whenever my feelings just sort of left. And I just felt like I was taking care of a friend.
Yeah, there cannot be any romantic feelings when you're having to treat them like a patient, you know, having to be a caretaker, wiping their ass and cleaning up after them, taking them everywhere. I mean, at some point, the romantic feelings have to just be dead at that point.
What about you, Casey? When did you realize that romantically it was dead, it was gone?
It was when the incident happened with Crystal and the iPod Touch.
So this is an interesting one. If I remember right, what happened was Amberlynn wanted an iPod Touch and Crystal bought her one. Now, Crystal had a bigger size memory one, I think. I think it was like had a larger number of gigs. And Amberlynn was so upset that she didn't get the good one, the best one, that she basically made Crystal give her the good one and then left Crystal with the smaller size one. And apparently made her cry doing that. And it was just selfish behavior on display like usual.
If she is making someone cry and being that vile over the memory size of an iPod Touch, that's crazy. She just went in on her, and she told me, "Oh, Crystal's crying because of this," and she told me what happened, thinking that I'd be on her side. And I looked at her and I was like, "You need to apologize to her. That was a simple question. She's crying. You know, it's like you could have just said, yes, I want the bigger memory size. Granted, you should be grateful that she got you one at all, but you know."
Yeah, she should have been just thrilled that Crystal got her one, period. You know, that's what a normal person would do, is go, "Oh, thank you. I didn't pay for it, so it's nice that I got a gift, a nice thing that my girlfriend gave me," you know? But Amberlynn, and we'll see again in a little bit, Amberlynn must be treated like she's special, like she gets the best of the best, because she feels like she deserves it.
Financial stuff is involved, and it's similar to a lesser extent, if that makes sense. Like it's because Casey, you have the story about your birthday money, and then Beck has a story about the inheritance.
Oh, those two, yeah.
That's exactly, yeah.
So we all know recently the story of Beck's inheritance has come up, and Casey has a story that's, like Nerfy said, it is on a lesser scale, but just shows a pattern of behavior that Amberlynn, her only thought process and her only motivation is to make sure that she gets what she wants and she gets taken care of.
My mom was supposed to get this money from my dad's work because it was a like a stock that had built up over the years and it got released. So it got split up between me and my sisters. And whenever I got it, I was like thinking, I can put this back for, anything. And Amber was like, no, we need to use it for bills and stuff. And she was just like, honestly, I've paid for everything up to this point, so you kind of owe it.
So Amberlynn is putting the guilt on Beck by saying, this money that you got from your mom, you owe it to me because I've been paying for everything. And Amberlynn didn't care that Beck had been taking care of her the whole time and putting in the work to take care of her. It was just about money to Amberlynn.
But then she also said on live, which I was wanting to talk about this at some point anyway, but her live last night, she was just like, we bought the bed. No, we bought the bed before I got the settlement. We bought the bed before my mom passed away.
When we first moved into that apartment, when my mom was visiting me, we went to this this mattress store, and Beck wanted this $6,000 bed, and I didn't want it, but they did. So I bought the bed in full-fledged cash right then and there because Beck wanted it. $6,000.
So, I mean, I guess she's hinting that $6,000 that Beck got from her mom, from the inheritance, that Beck wanted to spend that on the bed. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure that's what it sounds like to me, is that Amberlynn is like, yeah, that $6,000, she wanted this bed. So, but the thing is, Amberlynn is saying that she bought it, not Beck. Because it was Beck's money, they can do whatever they want with it. Especially since Amberlynn thought of every aspect of their relationship as transactional. It's, I'm spending all this money, now you owe me. It was never about love.
Get the bed from that money.
Oh, I love that.
And then she was, no, you're good. And then she's like, well, then we also took a trip to Gatlinburg. I talked to my sister this morning and asked how much we all put in for the cabin. And she said it was like 160 something. And then all we did was we went and ate at Paula Deen's. We went to a Christmas store. And then we went to Walmart and sat in the cabin for the rest of the time while my family went and did other things.
And that sounds familiar. That's what Amberlynn likes to do, right? She loves to just go to a thing, and then she likes to take Beck or whoever to a place and then just sit and do nothing while everybody else goes and has a good time. She did that when they went to Pride. Beck was so excited to go to Pride, go to the parade, and go do all the fun things that you can do at Pride. Now, on the videos, Amberlynn said Beck didn't want to go out and do things. And at the time, we all realized, like, are you sure? Because Beck seemed awfully excited to do this. And yeah, it turned out Amberlynn didn't want to do any of it. She was too tired, too hot, too hungry. She didn't want to do anything. So she forced Beck to stay in the hotel with her while everybody else went out and had a good time. So yeah, I believe this 100%. And then there was also another similar story with Casey where he had gotten some money for his birthday and he wanted to buy 2 games. There were 2 big games that came out at the time, and both really great games, by the way, Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. But anyway, so he went to go get both the games, and Amberlynn got really mad about it and was like, why are you getting 2 games? If you get both of those games, I'm going to be really pissed off. And then kind of as they go back and forth, he realized that it was that she wanted him to spend some of that money on her, even though it was his birthday money. And he was like, it was his 17th birthday. So he's still a kid, but she just needed him to spend some money on her. That's just more evidence of the narcissistic behavior,
Is just a point of pure greed, because at the time that she took your money back, she was making plenty of money. There was really no need for it.
Now, this is where we find out that she was making a metric shit ton of money at the time. Now, we could say that she was making it because of YouTube. I mean, I guess she could be making that much on YouTube, but as much as Beck is about to say Amberlynn was making, it would not be terribly out of the realm of possibility to think that maybe she was doing like feeder stuff on the side or selling other things. I don't know, man. Something else might have been going on, because that's a lot to be, for her amount of views and stuff, to make this much. It's, I don't know. Also, Curly is here giving a shout out. Hey, Curly.
No, she was making a lot of money. A lot of money. Like, I didn't even really know how much she had. All I know is that at one point in 1 month, she had made like 20,000.
God,
Jesus.
That's insane.
And couldn't, okay.
And still couldn't let you keep your
right.
inheritance.
Oh my.
Because
and couldn't let Beck keep their inheritance, making $20,000 a month. And maybe that was a weird month, but what are the odds that the one month that Beck just happens to see how much Amber makes is 20,000, and that's like the only month? Like, no, that was probably just a regular month for her at that time.
I owed it to her.
You
That's
owed it to her.
insanity. That is
Oh,
unhinged.
that hurts my heart. Oh my God.
I
I'm sorry.
didn't realize. Like, I knew she was making pretty good money, but that much? God dang.
I mean, she's not now.
No.
she's not making anything now.
And so Nerfy says she's not making that much now. She's not making any money now, which is, compared to what she was, is true. But no, she's still making a pretty decent amount. Of course, she could be lying, but if she has the like 250 or 300 members that she's claiming to have, that's still a lot of money, man. Like, on top of the ad revenue and stuff. I mean, especially now that she's uploading every other day. I mean, I think she's still making pretty good money, but nothing like that. Like, there's no way she's making near $20,000 a month, but I think it's still more than we would want it to be, you know?
Yeah, no, there was at one point she was making a lot of money, and I had no idea how either.
And
that's where it makes me think something else is going on, because Beck said, I don't know how she was making that much money. YouTube probably paid pretty well, but man, I just can't imagine it being that much. Yeah, there are ways to make that much money on YouTube, even now, but not with the amount of views she was getting. I mean, and she was getting pretty decent views, but not that much, man.
After I left, like, we kept in contact for, like, you know, if I needed to come get mail or get a package, something like that. And she was also friends with Eric and Ricky, so I would see her in passing there. But I also started, like, coming across tea channels and videos of, like, Amber being mean to Beck for 20 minutes straight. And I would watch these things, and I would watch these react channels that I was not allowed to watch while I was with her. And
do you hear that? They were not allowed to watch reaction channels while they were with her.
And these things started opening my eyes, and I was just like, oh my God, how I was right here. And I realized I was disassociating through 90% of it.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but did you just say you weren't allowed to watch the reaction channels?
Right,
Yeah, no.
that was my
I'm sorry, that
moment.
caught my attention and it grabbed me. You weren't allowed to watch them?
No.
Oh, hell no.
Oh my God. So she made sure that you did not watch like Zachary Michael or any of that.
And as bad as that is, it just gets worse.
Right, yeah, no. Like, whenever she would watch it, she would just watch it by herself on her laptop. She wouldn't have me watch or anything. No, she didn't.
Did
want
you
me to
ever
see.
try?
I knew if I would try, she would know, because she kept tabs on my phone all the time.
Oh my God, the control. Oh my God.
So
That's
if you
shame.
tried,
Unhinged.
okay, hold on, wait. Okay,
Keep
I'm
saying
speechless.
unhinged,
Okay, unhinged is an understatement. We're not allowed to say what we really want to say. This is like different.
The
Okay,
amount of
so
words that want to come out of my mouth right now.
right. So she would monitor your phone, so you could not watch any kind of reaction channel because she would see it, because she'd go into like your YouTube and she'd monitor
yeah.
your text messages and stuff.
Oh yeah, she would go through everything.
Oh my God,
She knew
I
everything.
can't.
God dang.
I mean, what can you say about that? This is where my eyes started hurting from doing this so much. Like, what? And this is a perfect example of, no matter how bad you think she is, it just gets worse, which we knew she was controlling. We knew that she, kept tabs on basically everything Beck did, but this is worse than even I thought it was.
No.
And I couldn't go through none of her stuff because
course.
she said she had private stuff on there in her private journal that she wrote in every day. And I was never allowed to see what was in that journal.
I have private stuff in my phone. You can't look at my phone, but give me yours. But what the fuck? What? That is wild behavior, And, you could easily say, well, Beck should have known that was a red flag. Beck should have said no. But man, when you are in the middle of it, when you are in that relationship, it's really hard to even see what's going on, because Amberlynn is manipulative. And she is really good at tricking people into thinking that it's normal. And B, Beck knew how much of a pain in the ass it was going to be to tell Amberlynn no. I mean, it could really mess with Beck's mental health. It's easier at that point just to say, whatever, just look through my phone, I don't care. And again, it's an abusive relationship. It's not as easy as just like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. There's a reason it's just known that it's hard to leave an abusive relationship. People like Amberlynn are so manipulative and so just evil that they make it very difficult to leave them.
Your text messages to where it's like, well, what did you mean when you told her this? What did you mean when you like sent this? What do they mean when they're telling you that? Did they do that as well? Or did she do that as well?
Yeah. Like that was actually what our last huge fight was about, is because she went through my text messages with Eric and Ricky and was mad that she wasn't a part of that group
chat.
So there was a group chat that Beck had with Eric and Ricky. They'd had for years. They'd had for a long time. They've been friends for a long time. And Amberlynn thought maybe they were talking about me. You know, I need to know what they're saying. And so Amber decided that she would pretend to be Beck and try to get in.
Which we had had for years. Even before we knew her, we had had that group chat. And so she was pretending to be me to them, demanding that we put her in that chat. And they were like, well, why don't we just make one for all four of us? And she's like, no, I want to be in that chat. Because she thought that if she got access and got added to that chat, that she would be able to see everything that we had talked about prior. So she wanted to be able to go through it as much as she wanted for years, just to see, because she was so dead set that everybody constantly talked about her behind her back. So like, yeah, we got to a huge fight about that. And that's the one thing that sparked me wanting to definitely leave her.
Let me just say something real quick.
And think about, that's the last fight that they had. That was the last straw, which I can absolutely understand that, you know, getting to the point where like, okay, I'm done. That's it. I can't do this shit no more.
Now, okay, she was so scared that people were talking crap about her behind her back. Well, now we talk it to your front with all these channels that are about you.
Now you know what you have to say.
I do love that. Casey said, you were always afraid we were talking about you behind your back. Well, now we're talking to your front because you're about to hear all of this. Because, you know, Amberlynn is watching and she's checking out the reaction channels. She's going to hear all this. And oh my God, can you imagine what she's going through right now? Can you imagine? It's so delightful to think what Amberlynn is going through right now, right? Like her mental health. She's having a mental health right now. And I'm here for it.
The one thing that I remember is that one day I was getting ready to go to school. And I went to school and my friend came up to me pissed, extremely mad. And I was like, what's wrong?
So this is another example of kind of the same thing that Amberlynn did with Beck. It shows that she was doing this like even further back than that. This is something that she has done basically forever. Taking Beck's phone and pretending to be Beck. This happened with Casey too.
And she's like, did you give Amber my number? And I was like, no, I did. Never would I ever do that to you. Like, no, because I knew how they were. This was another friend. And I knew how they were. And when I got home from school that day, I asked Amber, what, like, did you get in my phone and get their number to text them? And she admitted she did. She went in my phone, got their number, and texted them bad stuff just to drive them away from me.
That's that manipulation. That's that isolation, right? That's Amberlynn trying to tear them apart so that she can have Casey all to herself.
That is narcissism 101.
That is narcissism 101. Isolating your significant other just so that you can have them all to yourself. Keeping them from their friends, their family. That is so fucked up, man. And there are a lot of ways to kind of be covert about isolating your significant other. But Amberlynn was just so blatant and so brazen with her narcissism. It is wild. It is so disgusting. And I think it's just escalated. Amberlynn constantly claims that she's getting better. She's been growing, which, again, I keep making that joke. Of course, she's been growing, but not maturing. But she claims she's such a better person. But no, absolutely not. She is worse now than she's ever been.
Was there ever a moment in time where it actually did apologize for something that hurt you and it actually felt genuine and not manipulative?
No. That is my answer.
I don't know that Amberlynn knows how to be genuine. Because in her mind, whether she knows it or not, just subconsciously, she is constantly trying to think, how can I turn things into my favor? No matter what the situation is, it's always, the gears are turning of like, okay, I need to make sure that I am happy in this situation. I need to make sure that I'm taken care of and that everything works out for me. So how can I do that?
I really don't think she's ever been genuine about anything a day in her life.
I don't think she has.
Even to herself, I just really don't. I don't think she knows what it means.
I think she lacks the capability, honestly.
And that's where that like fake diagnoses and things comes in, right? Because she's not been genuine even with herself. She just Googles symptoms for mental health issues and just takes them because she's not genuine even with herself. She won't allow herself to be diagnosed with anything officially because A, she thinks she knows, She thinks she's so smart that she can just figure it out on her own. And B, she wants to be able to control the narrative. She wants to be able to tell you what she's got. She doesn't want some stupid doctor to tell her what she's got.
Yeah.
There's actually, funny enough, a fantastic question regarding the genuinity of Amberlynn here.
Oh, let's do it.
It's, hi y'all, how much of Amber's life is dramatized for the audience? Is there anything that isn't scripted for her own narrative? And love, Isabella.
She will take any narrative and just try to twist it to fit it her way. And if it doesn't come out making her sound good, she will not add it.
God damn.
Which we saw her do it, actually. We saw her try and do that last night in the live, to be fair. Anybody that has seen it or heard.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the live, like Salty Crab's video about the live, her last live, number 6, there's a lot of apologizing. A lot of what seems to be genuine. She's crying a lot. It was a very different vibe from her final response to Beck that she did. And Salty made a good point, and that is there were some big YouTubers and just everybody was covering that apology and how bad it was. And so Amberlynn saw, oh shit, I better actually like try to pretend like I'm giving a real apology because Amberlynn knew this was about to happen. And I think she was trying to get ahead of it. Strange that she would do that in a members only live stream, you know. So no matter what she does, even if she tries to do the right thing, she does it in a staggeringly stupid way.
Did you ever try and warn Jade about any of it?
I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, she's just going to have to learn and find out for herself. But there was no way she didn't know. I swear that she had to have known who Amber was before reaching out or anything. She had to have.
So I don't know about this. This is the part where I was like, I mean, I don't know what Beck could have done. You know, Amberlynn was around all the time. So I'm not saying that Beck did anything wrong necessarily, but I think right here, Beck is trying to make themselves feel a little bit better about leaving Jade to all that. Because how could Jade know how bad it would really be? Because none of us do. The only people that know how bad Amberlynn really is are the people that are the closest to her. So again, I don't think Beck did anything wrong necessarily because that was a difficult situation. What were they supposed to do? Call Jade over in the corner and be like, hey, by the way, Amberlynn is worse than you think. You know, Amberlynn was right there.
I think she knew what she was getting herself into. I just think she didn't know how bad it was going to be and then realized that it wasn't worth it and she bailed too.
And it didn't take Jade that long to realize how bad it was. You could see their relationship falling apart after like a year and a half. And then it deteriorated super fast after that.
What is one thing you wish you could say to Amberlynn that you couldn't before or that you feel she needs to hear come from you personally? And if you don't want to, that's totally fine. Like if you do, you know what I mean? Like if there's just like something you just wish you could say, like be curious to know what that is.
I really don't know what I would say because I know no matter what I say, it's just going to go right in one ear and out the other. So I would just be wasting my breath.
And that's the truth, 100%. Amberlynn doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks. She pretends to. She will ask you for your opinion about something, but unless you were kissing her ass, unless you were telling her exactly what she wants to hear, she's not going to listen.
Do you think at any point in time, could you truly forgive Amber?
Hell no. Sorry.
Grace, Casey, you're smart.
And now Casey has a great reason to never forgive Amber. Now, Beck does too, don't get me wrong. But just in case you're thinking Casey might be being a little hyperbolic or laying it on a little thick, don't forget Rain and Petal's eavesdrop, right? Amberlynn accused Casey of some really horrific things when actually it turned out that it was Amber doing those things. So I don't blame him for not forgiving her ever.
I'm with Casey on this one.
Yeah, I get it.
I get Casey as well. I mean, I really tried to think about it because I am one of those people where I do forgive. I do like to try to see the good in people, but it's like there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing good. Which
is pretty extreme, but just think about all the shit Beck had to go through. Oh my God, I don't want to imagine what it would be like to live with Amberlynn Reed. Oh my God. No. Not only would it be disgusting, but it would be, it would be traumatic. It would absolutely be traumatizing.
There was a timer for whenever I had to pick lint off her back. She says this has happened like once every 6 months. She would have, no.
Now remember in her live, Amberlynn said it wasn't picking, it was plucking. And it was an ASMR pluck is what she called it, which is really stupid. First of all, how is this ASMR? I thought ASMR had to do with sound. Maybe I'm missing something, but that is stupid. But Amberlynn was always covered in shit, like covered in lint and dog hair and cat hair and all that kind of stuff.
This happened multiple times, all the time, for various days. It was kind of like an everyday thing because it helped her anxiety.
See, and that's it. That was the manipulation, right? It's not just, I like it when you do this. It helps my anxiety. I really need you to do this because it's my mental health. And then so Beck feels bad about not doing it. So it's disgusting, man, on a lot of levels.
She would have me sit behind her and fake pick lint off the back of her shirt and then brush her shoulders. And she would set a timer from like 30 minutes to an hour. It was usually about 45 minutes was the typical that she would have me sit there and do that.
The more,
Did you ever express to her that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the more Beck is talking about her experience with Amber, the more I'm realizing we had the exact same Amber almost.
She did that to you too?
It was massages for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she had me do the massages too sometimes, but she had me do the lint picking way more.
The lint picking, that's too
I still don't know what that means, and I don't. I'm just
kind of like picking lint off someone's shirt.
No, I'm okay. Thank you. I said I don't want to.
She said it gave her ASMR.
Oh my God.
Of course, it fucking did.
Well, she seemed rather broken up about it in her live stream because.
Oh God, the choosy is what made her all cry and.
Well, that and like there was a moment where she was talking about the lint picking. She's like, it wasn't lint picking, it was like plucking, and she was like pulling at her shirt like she does when back when she used to show off her clothes
because nothing fucking fit. Yeah, I remember that.
And so she was saying it was like that, and that was ASMR, and she was crying, and Beck knew it was to de-stress me, or I can't remember her exact verbiage, and so I was kind of wondering was there any time that you expressed that you didn't want to, and she just forced the issue or pitched a fit or whatnot?
Yes. Yes, she knew I didn't like to do it. My arms would get tired really quick.
Yeah, fuck.
And she knew I didn't like doing it, but she would hold it out. She would guilt trip me. You know how bad my anxiety is. Please, please help me. And it would make me feel awful. So yeah, I would give in.
Weaponizing her mental health.
Yeah.
Weaponizing her mental health. That is Amberlynn in a nutshell. For anything, she will weaponize her mental health, which would be bad enough if she actually had these things. But it's likely she just makes them up just to get sympathy.
Just given that Amber is refusing to address Beck, well, sort of, because she has addressed Beck. Do you think it's because she has no defense? I'm guessing it's because Amberlynn has no defense, and I'm gonna go with that's a hard yeah. Amberlynn has no legs to stand on, despite everything. This woman has not a single leg to stand on. There is no excuse for any of the behavior, and she knows that, which is why she's addressing it so vaguely and so without detail. Because people.
Yeah, Beck is lying about some stuff, but there's some stuff that I should take accountability for, but never says what those things are. Either one. She never says, this is what Beck is lying about, and these are the things that I actually did. It's always, for the things that I did, I'm really sorry about. But for the things that they're lying about, I'm just really frustrated. Well, what are those things? She will never say because she doesn't know. She probably doesn't remember a lot of the stuff because she doesn't really care. But also, she knows that she can't pin down anything that's a lie because it probably isn't.
Call her on those details. Imagine the convoluted web of lies that she would have to create and stick to that would match all of the videos that I guarantee she doesn't even remember half the stuff that happened. There's just no way. There's no way she can.
And the community would pick up on all the little details. When Amberlynn would say, oh yeah, I didn't do this or I didn't do that, they would find that moment in time, find that video and be like, you said you didn't do what now? Because, hello, Exhibit A.
Address it without outing yourself.
And here in front of 5,000 people, I'll put it out there. I have BPD, 9 years intensive therapy. She does not fucking have it, okay? Don't believe her. She's a liar. Anyway,
Me neither.
Yeah, so Nerfy saying, I have BPD, and the symptoms that Amberlynn claims to have when she's talking about how she treats other people, that is not BPD. Manipulating and being horrible to other people is not BPD, according to Nerfy.
Yeah,
I'm very close to someone who has it, and I was with Amber for 4 years, and that's not it. That's not it. It's something, but it's not it at all.
Yeah, it's not it at all.
I think we all know exactly what it is. In a lot of my videos, I go over the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder, and holy shit, do they match up?
And
it's narcissism.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's using it as a very convenient excuse. And the thing that bothers me the most is that she's also using it and making the stigma worse, because there is a huge, Beck, you will know this, knowing somebody that has BPD. there's a huge stigma, especially around females that have BPD, that we're
Yes.
unhinged and we're psychos and we're, abusive and all of that. And her using that to stand on this soapbox and go, look, I know that I gave all of my exes PTSD. I know, but listen, it was BPD. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's disgusting.
It's harmful. People are afraid to get diagnosed with BPD because they think people are going to think I'm a psycho. She's not helping anybody except for herself, she thinks.
I have BPD. I've never abused anybody in my life. Not a single person. Not one.
No.
Shut the hell up. Get out. Sorry,
The
go ahead.
person I know that has it, that I'm really close with, they have never treated me the way that she has. Like, they've not done one thing that she's done.
I mean, if I had to diagnose somebody with something, which I can't because I'm not a doctor, but if I did have to, I would say Amberlynn has extreme, critical, severe, complex, malignant narcissism times infinity. So, I mean, this is wild. Like, it is far worse than any of us thought, but I keep going back to this term. It's shocking, but not surprising, right? We know how bad Amberlynn is, but we just had no idea, She is constantly surprising us with how horrible she is. And unfortunately, there are still a lot of people out there that like her because they're never going to see this. They keep themselves in a bubble. They keep themselves only watching Amberlynn's channel, and they've been sort of brainwashed by her to think that this kind of stuff is just a bunch of lies. So I'm not sure how to get through to those people, the Am babies. I just don't know how you can hear this. And I mean, you can just see it in Amber. Once you hear this kind of stuff and once you sort of know what she's capable of, you start seeing it in her mannerisms and the way she talks, especially when she talks to other people like her mom. It's not terribly hard to see that she is a manipulator and a liar and a narcissist. But, oh man, what a crazy time in girl world. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.